Hi, my name is Alea Williams of aleawilliams.com, and I'm here to give you a quick guide on how to use Periscope. Everyone is talking about Periscope right now, and with good reason. This fun new app is giving people an easy way to share videos for, well, pretty much any reason. If you're using Periscope for business or want to, here are some steps for getting started and growing your presence. Signing up for Periscope is very easy. Download the app for your iPhone or Android device and log in with your Twitter credentials. If you're not on Twitter, you'll need to sign up. Periscope and Twitter are joined at the hip, so some of the first people you'll be invited to connect with are people you're already following on Twitter that are already using the platform. You'll also see some of the most popular users. If you want to follow people you aren't connected with on Twitter, you'll need to search for them. The magnifying lens on the top left allows you to search. The person icon on the top right brings up your profile. You can edit your bio, see who is following you and vice versa, see your previous broadcasts, and update your settings. For now, settings are simple. You can opt to receive notifications when people follow you, and you can auto-save your broadcasts. If you think you might want to repurpose some of your scopes, I highly suggest you autosave. Seriously, stop what you're doing and turn autosave on now. You can't go back and save any broadcasts you've already completed, so make sure you're ready going forward. If your phone's getting full, snag the Dropbox app and move your saved videos there. Having your videos saved automatically is a smart idea if you want to put the videos up on YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook, Instagram, or any other video sharing platform. So, now that we've covered the basics, let's talk about broadcasting. And you guessed it, it's also pretty easy. It's so easy, you may notice a lot of scopes start before people seem to be ready. There are a few icons you can select before diving in, and we're going to cover them from left to right. First off, sharing your location. Do this only if you want people to know where you are. If you're concerned about privacy, don't do it. If it adds to your brand or is related to the video itself, go for it. In this picture, you see Mira Johnson shared where she was in the description as well as on the GPS locator. Next, you can opt to host private broadcast. Do you just want to invite specific people to watch? Click the lock icon before starting and add their names. I think this feature will definitely grow in popularity. You can also limit chatting to just your followers. But in the early stages of growth, you may want to remain open to new connections. And lastly, you can tweet your scope. If you want more visibility, send a tweet when you start your scope. And remember, Twitter is only 140 characters, so make sure the most important words kick off the title of your scope. I've watched lots of scopes with really long titles, which is fine if I'm getting a notification direct from Periscope, but remember, it may get cut off when you try to tweet it. Pretty easy, right? I hope so. Here are a few more tips. A scope starts as soon as you hit Start Broadcast. Take a beat before you begin and consider a little warm-up chit-chat before you start dropping nuggets of wisdom or your most hilarious jokes. Give people some time to click in from Twitter or to see the notification on their phones. Introduce yourself. It reminds your followers who you are and gives new people context for what you're all about. Some people like introducing themselves multiple times during a scope. Do whatever works for you. And what about scope length? After how do I find people, this is the question I see most frequently. What's great about Periscope is that you decide how long your broadcast will last. You can drop a 30-second scope and be done with it, or you can talk for 20 minutes. It's entirely up to you. And you can shake things up as well. But here's my support for shorter scopes, of 10 minutes or less, and I think 5 minutes or less is even better. First off, you can't currently fast forward or rewind. If I miss something you shared 20 minutes in, it's not likely I'll catch the first 20 minutes again just to try and catch the point that I missed. And if I miss it again, trust me, the third time will not be a charm. Second, people are busy. While I've watched a few scopes during data transfer, file uploading, and website fixing, I can't always watch for that long. If I leave the app to take a call, send a text, open up a notification outside of Periscope, or anything like that, I'm dropped from your broadcast. If that happens, hopefully I got some good content before I got disconnected. And finally, hopefully, you know how to get your message across concisely. And that's important regardless of platform. So aside from Periscope, that includes Facebook, email, blogs. Hopefully you can get your point across succinctly. And a warning, Periscope sucks up data. So watch your usage if you're broadcasting using your cellular network. According to Kathy Hackle, a Periscope super user, if you were to broadcast for an hour, that would eat up 2 gigabytes of data. So those 3 20-minute scopes you do could really cost you if you don't have an unlimited plan. All right, now let's talk about growing your Periscope following. If you want some love or you want to grow, ask. People will give hearts, which are basically likes, on their own, but it doesn't hurt to ask, and all they have to do is tap the screen. But a caveat. If you plan to reuse the video somewhere else, you might not want to get what I call heart ask heavy. If you've already watched a few scopes, you've probably noticed people say, "Thanks for the hearts, please give me hearts, I love the hearts." And while that works perfectly on the Periscope platform, if you're planning to repurpose your videos somewhere else, all the asking for hearts may distract from the core of your content. If you want more people to follow you and not just watch, you need to follow others. Unless you have a huge Twitter following already or a huge following on other channels, you probably won't start with a flock of followers. At the time I originally created this guide, I only had 100 folks, 100 great folks, following me. It wasn't a brag-worthy number, but it was definitely a solid start. And how did I get my followers? I followed people that I was interested in. I participated in broadcasts that I watched, cheered people on, shared resources, laughed at jokes. I've picked up more followers watching other people's broadcasts than any other way. And considering I haven't done a lot of scopes and I'm not promoting myself on other people's broadcasts, which is just kind of tacky, I'd say that's pretty good. Next, let people know how to find you. If you're signing off, encourage folks to follow you on Periscope. Remember, people can watch you without being followers, so there are probably a lot of people that are kind of internet stalking you without being followers, so it doesn't hurt to ask them and remind them to follow. And feel free to drop your website. It's your channel after all. Last tip, watch other people's broadcasts. In addition to finding new followers that way, you'll also pick up on techniques. You'll see what you like and don't like, and you can produce your scopes accordingly. I've certainly learned more from watching than doing at this stage. Watch a few broadcasts before you dive in and continue to watch them to stay engaged in the Periscope community. So now that we've covered a bunch of tips, let's talk about gear. Another great thing about Periscope is that you don't need a whole bunch of gear to get started. The only essential is your smartphone. But if you're planning to use it for business and want to up the quality and give your hands a break, here are a few things you should consider snagging. First off, a microphone. The two most popular ones are the Rode SmartLav Plus and the Movo PM10. Both clip right onto your shirt and give your sound a boost and a little more clarity. This is helpful, especially if you think you might repurpose your videos on other platforms. Next, a double lav microphone. I grabbed this portable little mic, the Movo PM20, to get better sound quality when interviewing people on Periscope. It's so tiny, travels well, and plugs right into your phone. Also, it's great for podcasting on the go if you're planning to do some in-person interviewing. I have 2 shows, so this mic really comes in handy. Finally, a tripod and smartphone mount. My arms got tired of holding up my phone while broadcasting on Periscope. My inexpensive tripod came with a smartphone mount, so now I can be hands-free. If you already have a tripod, then just grab a smartphone mount. If you're not shooting video for Periscope, this is handy for any other kind of videos you plan to use your smartphone for. And as we close, I'll leave you with a few final words of advice. First off, don't overdo it. I'm following a few hundred people already. I get notifications from some people 10 times a day at this point. If they're business people, part of me wonders when they're getting work done. But it's also a quick way for me to swipe left on my phone screen and mute notifications for 3 hours, and I love that option. If I have to do that too many times, it's likely I'll unfollow you. So share regularly, but don't be a pest. Next, invite with caution. Inviting people is a great way to share, as I mentioned before. But if you're doing this for your business and concerned about your brand, you may not want to share off-the-wall things. And like the last tip, don't overshare. Don't burn your goodwill with your audience. So share it if you really want to support the person scoping, but also think about your audience and the notifications they'll be receiving. Does this align with your brand and what you want them to associate you with? Finally, avoid looking like a spammer or unprofessional. When I look at my phone and see nothing but emoticons, I'm probably not going to be tuning in. I'll probably mute. If emoticons fit your brand, or you're doing this for fun and not work, or your brand fits perfectly with emoticons, by all means, do you. And as we close, remember, in the grand scheme of things, Periscope is brand new. Who knows what direction it will take and which features remain to be seen. Experiment, have fun, and leverage it as the great tool it's already proving itself to be. I'm having tons of fun, but like any other marketing channel, don't abuse it. And that's it. You're now ready to get started and make the most of Periscope. Don't be shy, dive in, and have fun. If you want to see the full guide with more tips and resources, just hop over to aleawilliams.com/periscope and you can grab the whole article, all the links, and more. And if you want to follow me on Periscope, just search for Alea Williams on the app to connect. Thanks for watching.